Your last show you know asks you to estimate the square root of non-perfect squares. So we know that 34 hundredths, if I was to think about this question here, so the square root of 34 hundredths is the same thing as the square root of 34 hundredths. And it says estimate what this would be, okay? So if I think about my number line idea, and if I think about this form here, if I'm asking myself what perfect square would be just before that on a number line, I can treat the numerator, since I know the denominator is a perfect square, I can treat that numerator like I would a grade 8 question. What is a square root of 34? What 2 points would that fit between? And the first one would be 25 and 36. So what we're really going to do is we're going to treat it like this. What is the square root of 25 hundredths, which we know to be 5 over 10 or 5 tenths? And what is the square root of 36 hundredths, which we know to be 6 tenths or 0.6? So right now, as a decimal, I know that the square root of 0.34 will be between 5 tenths and 6 tenths. Or if I want to think about money, it will be between 50 cents, I'm going to add an insignificant zero there to make it a little bit easier, or 60 cents. Okay? So really, these are the two benchmarks we're going to use. Right? Those are our benchmarks there. And since 0.34 is probably around here, we're going to make the assumption it's going to be roughly 0.58 or 0.57. Somewhere around there will be the square root of 0.34. So my estimation is approximately equal to 0.58. Okay, that's going to be my estimation, which is counterintuitive. Because you're saying what number multiplied by itself gives you 0.34? And we're saying that 0.58 times 0.58 is approximately 0.34, which makes no sense. But you think about what is 58%, 0.58 is 58%, 58% of 0.58. It's like what is half of 0.58. So if I take my calculator, just to make sure my estimation was decent, if I go 0.58 multiplied by itself, I get 0.3364, which is pretty darn close to 0.34. So therefore, I know my estimation was accurate. The second part says calculate the square root. So if I take my calculator and go, what is the square root of 34 hundredths? Since it's not a perfect square, the answer the calculator gives me, Riley, is an irrational, non-terminating, non-repeating decimal. It is simply a decimal that repeats or that goes on forever but does not repeat a pattern and does not stop. So it asks you to round it to the nearest thousandths, so tenths, hundredths, thousandths. That's your thousandths right there, the 3. So my estimation will be approximately equals 0.583. Now, judging by what we estimated with the number line, and judging by what we calculated with the calculator, our estimation using a number line and our calculation using a calculator was fairly close.